Oh. Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K. We are here with the Demetra K Show, and I'm also joined by Donovan, throwing rocks and hiding his hands Sadiq. We ain't going to be live too much longer if I don't turn my Wi-Fi off on here, because Donovan's house does not like my Wi-Fi. But anyway, so...
Well, you got that cricket connection.
No, I ain't got no cricket, baby. Ain't no cricket going on here.
Right.
Okay, so I'm also going live for the first time myself on YouTube here, so we gonna see what it do, y'all. We gonna see what it do, trying to do 500 things at once.
Okay.
Okay, and so we're also on the Demetra K podcast. Oh my God, we got so much going on here.
So much.
But anyway, so hello to everybody. As I said, I am here with Donovan throwing rocks and hiding his hands Sadiq. But he's going to be taking off out of here for a little while because he's doing some home improvement projects, and so
gotta finish it before Mom gets here.
He's got to finish it, otherwise he's going to get a butt whooping.
Yes, exactly.
Before
Mom don't play.
Right. So. All right. And so anyway, I'm going to give you guys a few moments to get on and compose yourself. We are, as you see, going to be talking about Bill Cosby, the dynamics of the Bill Cosby case. As you guys know, he was just sentenced to 3 to 10 years, and so we're going to get into that. But before I get started, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. I don't normally do. As always, the purpose of this show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all the things that go on in the Black community to make us a better people. So with that being said, last week, due to what?
Can I say something?
Oh,
last
absolutely.
Week? To help you out. Last week we had a lighting issue. I hope that has been addressed. So Miss Nancy, it has been addressed. So
yes.
There we go. And we are still inside.
Last week there was a lighting issue, and Nancy, if it was to your liking, please give us a thumbs up.
Yes.
So anyway, so last week, everybody, and I would say everybody, including myself, maybe not Donovan because he's like a robot, were in their feelings or emotions in regards to the Bill Cosby verdict. And so me personally, I posted a couple things on my page saying that, I stand with Bill Cosby, some other things like that. And I had a few people call me some names and, just say a couple other things that was just kind of, I don't think that's very necessary. And so I'd like to say that the name calling doesn't bother me necessarily because I know who I am, but what I will not tolerate is disrespect. Now, what we're going to do today is have a healthy dialogue about Bill Cosby and everything in between. Now, we can do that to learn from each other. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm not saying I'm wrong either. So what I'd like to do is just have a healthy conversation. Now, I hate to do it, but if I see some name calling and all the other nonsense, I'm going to utilize the block feature that I just learned about not too long ago. And so, here we go, y'all.
Mr. Cosby is charged with aggravated indecent assault.
After years of denial and claims that the encounter was consensual, Bill Cosby for the first time faces criminal charges for the alleged sexual assault of a Pennsylvania woman. The charges coming after Andrea Constant, a former Temple University employee, accused Cosby of drugging, then assaulting her in 2004 when she visited the man she considered a friend and mentor at his Pennsylvania home.
Mr. Cosby made 2 sexual advances at her that were rejected. On the evening in question, Mr. Cosby urged her to take pills that he provided to her and to drink wine, the effect of which rendered her unable to move, respond to his advances.
Though Constant came forward in 2005, the district attorney at the time did not file charges. That same year, Constant sued Cosby, the comedian then settling for an undisclosed amount. Legal documents in that case were unsealed for the first time this past July, and the deposition made public. In it, Cosby admits giving women quaaludes, but never without their knowledge. Constant's lawyer asks Cosby, when you got the quaaludes, was it in your mind that you were going to use these quaaludes for young women that you wanted to have sex with? Cosby replies, yes. That deposition and other evidence unsealed in the civil case paved the way for a new district attorney to reinvestigate the allegations. In the criminal complaint, Constance says Cosby told her the pills were herbal, and after taking them, she lost her strength, but was aware of Cosby, quote, fondling her breasts and of his hands into her pants.
What we know is that pills were provided. There's inconsistencies on what type of pills they were. There was also wine that was provided. We then go to the reaction of the victim, frozen, paralyzed, unable to move. A person in that state cannot give consent.
Constant was the first woman to publicly come forward accusing Cosby. Since then, some 50 women have alleged similar sexual assaults over a period of 4 decades, most involving the use of drugs. Cosby has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing and even filed a countersuit against 7 women earlier this month. Cosby says their accusations hurt his reputation and derailed his plans for a new comedy show. Prosecutors are right up against the expiration of the 12-year statute of limitations for sexual assault cases in Pennsylvania, which will close early next year. Cosby could get up to 10 years in prison if convicted.
All right, so on September 25th, Bill Cosby, also known as America's Dad, was sentenced 3 to 10 years for 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault on Andrea Constad from the incident that happened about 14 years ago. Now, before being led away in handcuffs, the judge said this was a serious crime. He also said, Mr. Cosby, this has all circled back to you. This day has come. The time has come. And I promise you guys, I'm going to get to all your comments. Okay, now Cosby, who was also labeled a sexually violent predator, has to undergo lifetime mandatory sex offending counseling with a treatment provider and has to notify the community to which he'll live in. I don't know if he'll move, but the community that he'll ultimately live in once he is freed, he has to notify the neighborhood that he is now deemed a sexually violent offender. Okay, and so let's see, where else did I go? Okay, so now let's go back to 2004. Andrea Constad said that Bill Cosby raped and drugged her in 2014, but did not tell the police until 2005. Prosecutors refused to press charges, citing that there was insufficient, credible, and admissible evidence. So basically saying there wasn't enough to go on. This is what the prosecution said in 2005. All right, now the case was eventually settled in 2006 to the tune of $3 million. So basically, Bill Cosby paid Andrea Constad $3 million and did a non-disclosure agreement, and allegedly now, and I'm going to say allegedly because I'm going to get to that in a second, the case was sealed. All right. Now, the case was eventually sealed in 2006. Okay, so as I said, he paid her $3 million. So 10 years later, dozens of women came forward to accuse Cosby of drugging and sexually assaulting them. Andrea Constad's case was the only one that was still within the statute of limitations. In 2015, a new team of prosecutors picked up the case based off of the statements that were made by Cosby and Constad in the sealed civil deposition. Now, in regards to the deposition being unsealed, they became unsealed because a judge in the case that the prosecution wanted unsealed. So, okay, the prosecution wanted the deposition unsealed, right? Now, Cosby and his people were thinking, well, it's sealed. We deemed it sealed after we paid her the money, okay? But the judge decided to unseal the case because Constad and Cosby had not filed their settlement with the court. So basically, the judge had no reason to honor it from his end. So the judge was like, yo, you guys didn't file that deposition with the court, so it's not in my jurisdiction, so I have no reason to keep it sealed. Okay, so now that's how that happened. Now moving right along. The first trial against him ended in a hung jury, but the second trial led to him being convicted of 3 counts, as I said, 3 counts of aggravated indecent assault for drugging and sexually assaulting Constad. Now, here we go. Marguerite Jackson, a former co-worker of Andrea Constad, while they worked at Temple University, said Constad talked to her about setting up a high-profile person and filing suit. Now, those were her quotations. Those were her co-worker Marguerite Jackson's words in regards to what Andrea Constad told her while they were away I guess they worked for the basketball team at Temple, so they were away on a trip, and they shared a hotel room together. And Marguerite Jackson said, as they were watching television, that's what Andrea said to her. Okay, so moving right along. Now, during the first trial, when Jackson testified about the aforementioned statement, Constance denied even knowing the former co-worker. So Andrea's like, I don't know Marguerite Jackson. This is what she said, okay? Now, but later on in the trial, she admitted to knowing her. Marguerite Jackson's testimony was stricken from, I guess, the trial because it was deemed hearsay, quote unquote. And also because Constance later admitted to knowing her. In fact, Constance said, she said, I recall Margot, because she called her Margot instead of Marguerite. So basically she said, okay, yeah, you guys caught me up in a lie. I do know her. All right. Now, Jackson was told that she could testify at the retrial after Constance finished testifying, but Jackson never got a chance to testify for the defense for whatever reason. Her testimony never got brought in defense of Bill Cosby. Now, in the deposition in question, it said that Cosby, now here, I want y'all to pay attention to me here, because this is where a lot of the confusion and a lot of the back and forth has just gone, all right? Now, a lot of people are running around saying, well, Cosby admitted to raping women, okay? He did not admit to raping women, and as I said to everybody on my post last week, please just bring me the evidence or the statement. It shouldn't be hard to find in the day and age of Google. Find me the statement where Cosby admitted to raping women. So far, not one person who was adamant about he said that has brought me evidence, but I digress to my nose here. Now, in the deposition in question, it said that Cosby admitted to giving drugs to women he wanted to have sex with. But in that same deposition, his lawyers objected because Cosby said that he misunderstood the question and corrected it by saying woman, quote unquote, not women, quote unquote. He said he gave it to one woman while in Vegas. That was by her consent. And so he's saying, wait, whoa. I didn't say women, I said woman. And so somehow, and it's in a deposition in black and white. You don't have to take my word for it. You can go research it for yourself, which is what I impress upon you to do. Okay, and so far, okay, so at the time, 60 women accused Cosby of rape. Many of those women worked with him in some way, shape, or form, okay? Usually like at the college, Temple, Hollywood, just somewhere, somehow these women came into contact with him, usually sounds like mostly by professional means, all right? Now, specifically, Lily Bernard accused Cosby of drugging and raping her, but in many interviews, she admitted herself out of her own mouth, admitted to going back and forth in his presence after he allegedly raped and drugged her at least 4 times. Now, these were interviews that I saw today. Old interviews, obviously, but she admitted that. You know, I felt like he gave me something, and then when I went home, I felt like I was raped and all this other stuff. But she kept saying, she kept going back because she was determined to get the acting role that he promised her, and she was not going to let up until he did that. This is what she said. Okay, so why did she do that? As I said, she wanted the acting role, but she finally got a role on the Cosby Show as Miss Minifield, playing one of his OBGYN patients. You guys remember the episode where he was in the office with a lady, she was pregnant, and he was giving her instructions, and she was writing down instructions. The whole scene was kind of funny. Well, that was her. So she finally got what she wanted, even after saying he raped her and drugged her a bunch of times. All right. Now, Andrea Constance also lied on the stand and said that she had never been alone with Cosby, but witnesses said that she was lying. Again, later on the stand, she said that, I misspoke. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But she too kept going back to be with Cosby alone for various reasons. Okay, so that's just twice that Andrea Constance, the woman who was actually able to bring Cosby down, got caught in a lie. But for whatever reason, the court, the prosecution, whoever kept allowing her to say, oh my God, I misspoke. Yes, I did know her after all. All right, so let me keep moving because I got a little bit more notes to go, and then I'll get to all of your comments. Now, Many of Cosby's accusers are suing him for money due to defamation, and he is suing them too. So they got all these lawsuits behind, oh, you called me a liar, you called me a liar, you messed up my image, all that stuff. Now, it should also be noted that Bill Cosby is the first official casualty of the Me Too movement. As most of you know, the Me Too movement is one that was started by a black woman named Tarana Burke, which originally encouraged mainly young women of color to unify with each other when it comes to sexual harassment. In fact, it had been around for 12 years before the actress Alyssa Milano stumbled upon it. Now, this is the testimony or the words of Tarana Burke, the creator of the Me Too movement. Now, it had been around 12 years before Alyssa Milano stumbled upon the hashtag and used it without knowing about the true origins of the hashtag. So she got kind of some loose information, was like, yeah, I'm going to use this, and that's how it went viral. Tarana Burke, like, she woke up one day and looked on, she was in the bed actually, watching TV, and she saw that her hashtag had been trending and she didn't know why, and so that was why. But she also went on to say that that was never the intent for the hashtag. It was to, just bring a unity amongst survivors of sexual harassment. Okay, now, unfortunately, her movement was hijacked by the white women who masqueraded as her friend. Her movement has ended the careers of many prominent men in Hollywood and the careers of many other high-profile men. Now, let's take it back, like way, way back, for just a second. And I promise you, I'm almost done. Since Marcus Garvey, who founded the United Negro Improvement Association, the FBI under J. Edgar Hoover and white supremacy has been hell-bent on destroying the image of black people. Now, I'm going to try to give y'all some facts here, okay? Now, Hoover was specifically concerned with Garvey inciting black folks around the country to stand up in militant defiance. And so basically Hoover was like, oh my God, I can't have Marcus Garvey making these black people think that they're more than what we've been telling them they are. And so we need to do something, right? Okay. And so for years, Hoover tried to find things on Garvey to ruin his reputation. While doing so, the first ever black FBI agent was hired in 1919 to infiltrate and spy on Garvey's organization. The spies that were hired by the FBI did things to sabotage the Black Star Line, a UNIA cargo ship that transported goods to and from Africa and America. They did stuff like putting foreign matter into the fuel, and so they were really hell-bent on trying to destroy Marcus Garvey. Okay, Marcus Garvey, along with 3 others in the organization, were convicted on mail fraud in connection with the sale of stock involving the Black Star Line. Specifically, he mailed out thousands of brochures with a picture of a ship by the name of SS Phyllis Wheatley, which was considered misrepresentation because they did not own the ship. They owned the Black Star Line. They were in negotiations to purchase it, however. So basically, if I can break that down for y'all really quick, the FBI got Marcus Garvey saying, aha, you lied. You put a picture, what had happened was, it was a picture of, and I'm assuming it was a Black Star Line ship, but somebody had etched on the brochures that were mailed out to thousands of people, SS Phyllis Wheatley on it, and so they were like, okay, we caught him in a lie, that's mail fraud, because they hadn't actually acquired the ship yet. Okay, so I'm almost done here, I promise you. Now, honestly, the Black Star Line was on the verge of bankruptcy, so Marcus Garvey thought he tried to sell stocks to avoid bankruptcy. Eventually, he was charged for defrauding one man of $25 and ended up being sentenced to 5 years and being deported back to Jamaica. Get this, you guys, he was found guilty on an empty envelope because the witness only provided the envelope without the brochure, so the guy who they were using for the witness was like, well, I don't actually have the brochure, but I do have an envelope. But then he also said, well, admittedly, I have they send me stuff all the time, so this envelope could be from anywhere. So anyway, Marcus Garvey was convicted on an empty envelope. If you don't believe me, Google it. All right, as promised, I'm almost done. Okay, and so it should also be noted that Garvey's organization organization, Universal Negro Improvement Association, had schools, a printing house, factories, and trade schools, all with the purpose of improving the lives of black people. Okay? Now, Hoover used the same methods on Malcolm and Martin in later years. Now, I said all of that to answer the question of the Negro naysayers that asked, well, why would white supremacy want to destroy successful black men? I just outlined all that for you, right? So in 1921, many of the 3 million black people that Garvey got on board with Pan-Africanism believed the hype and the lies that were put forth about him by white supremacy and by men like W.E.B. Du Bois of the NAACP, who said that Garvey was a danger to the lives of black people. Now, those 3 million people, most of them eventually abandoned the mission of improving the lives of black people because they just believed the narrative that was put out about Marcus Garvey without researching it for themselves, okay? Now, do y'all see any similarities with what's going on today with Cosby and many of the black leaders? I'm just asking questions. And so in closing, back to the case of Bill Cosby, in my opinion, my opinion, Bill Cosby is guilty of 3 things. Now, admittedly, I will say this, I wasn't there. I don't know whether he actually raped somebody or he did not. Only those people know, but there's just too many, this is like so much gray area to say, oh my God, Bill Cosby's a rapist, okay? Now, I will say this, in my opinion, Bill Cosby is guilty of 3 things. 1, cheating on his beautiful black wife who stood by him for many years and gave him, I think it was 5 children. 2, thinking he can do what white men do and get away with it, using drugs and alcohol for sex, and predominantly on white women. Now, there's a few black women, but it was predominantly white women. And 3, doing things that were in direct contradiction to the image that he built that made black people believe differently about ourselves, especially when the white mainstream media has painted negative narratives about us. Now, as I said, lastly, the only people involved really know what happened, and I've always been taught there's 3 sides to each story: my side, your side, and the truth. And so it is up to, well, I guess, as far as the court of law is concerned, the truth has already been found. But I want to discuss this here with you guys and, just get your many thoughts. Like I said, I would that we all be respectful, no name calling, just really get to the bottom of what's going on. All right, so now I'm going to get to every one of your comments, so let's go right ahead. All right. So Tay says, hey. Nancy's glad about the light. Charlie said, peace family, peace on to you. Joe gives me the thumbs up. You also say Bill Cosby is an innocent man. Okay, well, we're going to get down to the bottom of that. And Nancy says she took the pills willingly. I'm sorry, he is an old man, no evidence. She ran out of money. Many other people have said that. And Charlie says, sorry people called you names. That is lame. People have to learn how to disagree without resorting to childish and petty ways. And you know what? I absolutely agree, because I believe that if you can't argue from just your opinion and not emotions, then you probably shouldn't be arguing. I mean, there's no need for us to get emotional, because one thing, none of us know Bill Cosby, do we? I've never met Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby ain't giving me no money. I don't have a real good reason to defend him, but I'm like, I like to research for myself, and see if there's some truth to stuff. And from what I see, it's a lot of gray area, but I do agree. There's no name calling. And Al says, my kid's mom says she left the store, but it's raining really bad, and the GPS had her going to Dr. Huxtable's office, so she went the other way. You know what? Yeah. Hey, Asada. And you say, still waiting for the statement. What statement? Well, hey, Jonelle. He's on to you as well. James says 60 women. Some of these women need to be locked up for lying. Ridiculous. Yeah, it's about 60 women or so who said that he had did something to them in some way, shape, or form. A lot of them said that he drugged them and things like that. But a lot of them, just kind of out of their own statement, is like, well, you went to this man's house, and I don't know where Camille was. That's a whole other mystery. But you went to this man's house, sometimes probably in the middle of the night. What did you think he was going there for? Surely if you're an actress or trying to be an actress in Hollywood, you have heard of the casting couch. I'm just assuming, right? And And then Larry said facts. And Charles said, I never said he admitted to rape. I said the deposition was enough for me to be clear on where I stand. Well, did you read the deposition I read? Because how can you be clear if the man, said that's not what he meant in that same deposition? So, I mean, again, and a lot of the women, even Andrea Constand was in a video saying that she knew he was giving her drugs. So where is the mystery? I'm confused. James said this should be an easy appeal for Bill, ineffective counsel. Yes, I don't know if they filed the appeal yet, but they're going to. As of Wednesday, they hadn't filed an appeal, but his team said that they are going to file an appeal. There's just a lot of things. I agree that the counsel seemed to be ineffective. I mean, I don't know if it was the counsel or the judge or whoever let a lot of things slide, like the constant lies of Andrea Constand, the only woman who was able to bring charges. I mean, she just lied a lot. And she was given a pass like, oh, well, that's not what I meant. I misspoke. I'm sorry. So, yeah, I agree. I think he should definitely get another trial. Hey, Antonio, you said respect. And Charles says, laugh out loud. No, Cosby is no Garvey. No. I didn't liken Cosby to Garvey. I was drawing a correlation. I was showing you the similarities. And, since you brought it up, I would like to argue in some respects, some people could liken Cosby to a Garvey because Cosby, he sanitized and cleaned up the image of black people as far as the media was concerned. Up until the early 80s, until Bill Cosby show came along, most of us were usually seeing our leading characters as pimps, hoes, good times where they were struggling, just the worst depictions of black people in television. And so Bill Cosby came along and said, not so. You guys, there's no reason why your mama and your daddy can't be lawyers and doctors, and you can't go to school and become this, that, and the other. He made a lot. He single-handedly improved the college enrollment rate amongst black people. And so Bill Cosby has always been awake. I don't know what happened with him, giving sleeping pills to women and all that kind of stuff, but Bill Cosby did a lot for the image of black people. So maybe there is a little bit of argument there. And Jonelle says, as soon as Bill went for Zionist Network and got rejected, all these women pop up and recall they've been raped via drugs by him. No one did research on these women or who founded or funded their lawyers. And some of these, oh, you went in. And some of these women even confessed they conjured up their accounts. Some of them were drug addicts and sex addicts. One even confessed on Howard Stern trying to set up Sylvester Stallone on rape. I know you talking about his name. God, that's when you get old and thinking names. And Brian says, I know those women are surpassing in salary. Talking about black women. Well, it's always been that way with black women as far as making money. Even you go back to slavery, black women have always been put over the black man to usurp him and to make him know that you'll never be nothing. Because, well, even if we got to put your own woman over you in authority and give her more than you, will do that. So, because we don't want you to ever think you can be more than what we told you. So, Artemis, she said, it must be in the water. It must be. And Jonelle said, father is the first man a woman knows a God father. A good father is a measurement of manhood by which woman choose her man and vice versa for a man. A man desire a woman like his mother in principle and in love. So, So it's very important to be those excellent examples for our children because they strive to follow and measure up to what we do. And the examples we said that's why a real man is a man of God, as Minister Farrakhan teaches, and is an example of in practice. Absolutely. That's who we should be striving to be with. And for those of you guys on the podcast, I will see you, I'll hear you guys, talk to you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. And so, no, absolutely. So to that point, Jonelle, a lot of women say, oh my gosh, black man ain't this, black man ain't that, and all sorts of stuff. Well, maybe it's not, I know that it's not all black men. Maybe it's the black men that you're choosing to keep company with. Maybe you have poor decision-making skills in choosing a mate.
Yes, preach it, sister. Preach it. Yes.
Maybe you shouldn't be laying down with a man that you're not sure of, and maybe you shouldn't be making kids with a